Parachute rigger certificate requirements. This is the first question in potential questions, I should say, in the practical test in standards. It says it's applicable to senior or master rigger applicants, so either of you could get them. And the reference it offers is 65.111. Frankly, there are a few other places we may end up having to look. Objective: to determine that the applicant exhibits knowledge of the regulations with regard to who may pack, maintain, or alter any main parachute of a dual parachute by describing 1. Certificate requirements. 2. Who would require supervision and the requirements of the supervisor. 3. The provisions for packing for personal usage. 4. The provisions for packing for tandem operations. Awesome. So let's get down to taking a look at a few of the rules. Well, the first one it offered us was 65.111, and it says the certificate required. A. No person may pack, maintain, or alter any personnel carrying parachute intended for emergency use in connection with civil aircraft of the United States, including the reserve parachute of a dual parachute system to be used for intentional parachute jumping, unless that person holds an appropriate current certificate and type rating issued under this subpart and complies with 65.127 through 65.133. That's a mouthful. B. No person may pack, maintain, or alter any main parachute of a dual parachute system to be used for intentional parachute jumping in connection with civil aircraft of the U.S. unless that person 1. has an appropriate current certificate issued under this subpart. 2. is under the supervision of a current certificated parachute rigger. C. Each person who holds a parachute rigger certificate shall present it for inspection upon the request of the administrator or an authorized representative of the NTSB or any federal, state, or local law enforcement officer. D. The following parachute certificates are issued under this part. 1. Senior parachute rigger. 2. Master parachute rigger. E. Section 65.127 through 65.133 do not apply to parachutes packed, maintained, or altered for the use of the armed forces. Excellent. We'll get into a last couple of rules that it didn't suggest we read, but I think we should, because it said it was going to talk about packing of main parachutes. If it's a sport main parachute, it's going to be section 105.43, use of single harness dual parachute systems. So let's have a read. It says, the main parachute must have been packed within 180 days before the date of its use by a certificated parachute rigger. The person making the next jump with the parachute or a non-certificated person under the direct supervision of a certificated parachute rigger. That's a mouthful again. And then section 105.45, use of tandem parachute systems. B. No person may make a parachute jump with a tandem parachute system unless 1. The main parachute has been packed by a certificated parachute rigger. The parachutist in command making the next jump with the parachute, that's the instructor, not the passenger, or a person under the direct supervision of a certificated parachute rigger. Oh boy. And there's one last little bit we got to go, because it did say who can pack, maintain, or alter main parachute. So we better have a look at this as well. This is section 65.125, certificate privileges. Says a certificated senior parachute rigger may 1. pack, maintain, except for major repair, any type of parachute for which he is rated, and 2. supervise other persons in packing any type of parachute for which that person is rated in accordance with section 105.43a or section 105.45b1 of this chapter. B. A certificated master parachute rigger may 1. pack, maintain, or alter any type of parachute for which he is rated, and 2. supervise other persons in packing, maintaining, or altering any type of parachute for which the certificated parachute rigger is rated in accordance with section 105.43a or section 105.45b1 of this chapter. Awesome. And we read those two areas of 105 just a few moments ago, and they both dealt with main parachutes. So let's go back to the questions. The questions at the beginning said it wanted to determine that the applicant exhibits knowledge of the regulations with regard to who may pack, maintain, or alter any main parachute of a dual parachute by describing. So as an examiner, they can root around in here and get quite a few different versions of questions out of it. So they could ask you the certificate requirements, for instance, to alter a parachute, and that would be a master parachute rigger, exactly. Or what certificate you would have to supervise someone doing a minor repair. Again, that would be a master parachute rigger, because as a senior rigger, you could only supervise the packing of a main parachute. And there's lots of other questions similar to that I'm sure you could figure out for yourself right now. For instance, who could do a minor repair? That could be a master or a senior parachute rigger. Alright, moving on. 2, it wants to know who would require supervision and the requirements of the supervisor. Okay, so we kind of just touched on that. If someone was going to pack a main parachute and that person was not a certificated parachute rigger, they would have to be under the supervision of an appropriately certificated parachute rigger. Moving down to the next one. Provisions for packing for personal use. Okay, so if you wished to pack a parachute for you to use next and you are not a certificated parachute rigger, that would actually be okay, as long as you were the person making the next jump on it. We talked about that in 105, what was it, 43A, I believe. And provisions for packing for tandem operations, we saw there that you can pack either as a certificated parachute rigger, under the direct supervision of a certificated parachute rigger, or as the parachutist in command, as the tandem instructor making the next jump on it. Now, I definitely did not give you an exhaustive list there of all the possible versions of questions, but I hope I've at least illustrated why you should read 65-111, 65-125, and of course 105-43A and 105-45B.